Hello, welcome to this video feedback session on the Thematics Studies exam from 2019. We're looking in this short video on theme E. However, I've got videos on A, B and D. If you haven't watched them yet, you can find them in the playlist connected to this video. We're going to look at the types of questions that were going to appear. We're going to clear up some misconceptions, and I'm going to show you some model answers as well as looking at the actual mark scheme. Let's jump in. So question one was all about causing physical pain to someone as a punishment. And you had four different options there: prison sentence, reformation, corporal punishment, and community service. All my students got this one correct. It is corporal punishment. And it's really good to go into the exam knowing what corporal punishment is, knowing your reasons for and against it, but also being able to differentiate between capital punishment, because some students do get those two mixed up. And to just know what they are, why some Christians think they're all right, and some Christians think they're not. Two of the aims of punishment, again, this was really well done. The four main ones you'd be choosing between are retribution, deterrence, reformation, and of course protection. The example were very lenient on this, and actually this year you didn't have to use those specific terms. You could have just described some of those punishments, and you would have got the mark. So well done if you got those. Explain two contrasting religious views about how people who commit a crime because of an addiction should be treated. Now, this is our 4-marker, and a key aspect of this for the examiners was this aspect here, because of an addiction. Now, many students just kind of rushed into this and gave quite generic responses, but you'd be capped at 2 marks out of 4 if you didn't bring the addiction into this, into your answer to this question. So here's a model answer, starting with we want to go belief and then development, belief and then development. So one belief is that Christians should ensure that these people are loved and cared for in their addiction, using that wording from the question. Let's develop it. So we've got a point. Jesus spent his time caring for the outcasts and those in need like a man with leprosy. Addiction is an illness. Follow-up point, here we go. A second belief, a contrasting belief, is that all criminals should receive a just punishment regardless of their addiction. The Bible says that God is a God of justice, and he commands his people to deal justly with one another. So 2 different beliefs there, both from Christianity and both referencing that key aspect of this question, which is the addiction. Now 5.4 was our 5-marker in this theme. Explain 2 religious reasons why some people are against the death penalty. So we want to do exactly what we just done, but just make sure we brought in some biblical teaching, some Christian teaching or religious teaching in this to show that we've supported our answer with some evidence. So number 1 religious reason is because the Bible teaches that taking another person's life is wrong. In our development, one of the 10 commandments is do not kill. So the death penalty goes against this. A second point. A second reason is because Jesus prevented an execution in the Bible. Christians may follow his example. Let's develop it. There is a woman who is going to be stoned to death for adultery, and Jesus stops it from happening and tells her to go and sin no more. So we've got our points, we've got our development, and we've referenced the Bible as well. 5 out of 5. This is the specific feedback from the exam board on this one. If you want to pause it and look at that in greater detail, you're more than welcome. We are going to move on. So the final question, 5.5, our 12-marker, there is nothing wrong with sending a criminal to prison. Now, you know where this is going by now. We're going to have 2 points of view on this. We're going to develop those out using logical chains of reason. We're going to try and apply religion to our answer throughout it, and we're going to come up with a concluding statement as well. Let's have a look at a model answer. So, nothing wrong with sending a criminal to prison. Here we go. Some Christians would agree. You hopefully recognize the pattern now. In the Bible, it says that the Lord is a God of justice. Prison is a just punishment for many criminals. It fulfills the aim of punishment, retribution. One of the laws in the Old Testament is an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. If someone has committed a crime, they should expect a fitting and just penalty. Prison could be this. Christians are also taught to love their neighbour. It is not loving to allow criminals to roam the streets and cause further harm to society once they've been found guilty. It is also not wise, another important attribute to God. Finally, reformation is an important aim of punishment for criminals. Prisons can help to reform because criminals can reflect on what they have done wrong. learn new skills, and receive help to live better lives when they are released. Other Christians would disagree. Statistically, most criminals reoffend. This means that although in theory prison could help to reform a prisoner, the reality is that this seldom happens. Some Christians would say there is something wrong with sending a criminal to prison because prisons can be crime academies, where inmates learn to be more effective criminals when they get out. Furthermore, there is often a problem with drugs in prison. Some criminals only start taking drugs when they get to prison, to take their mind off their situation. This leads to bigger problems for society when they get out. Finally, the death penalty is sanctioned in the Bible for serious offences. Executions could be a better alternative to permanently remove the worst offenders, rather than spending thousands of pounds keeping them in prison for years. In conclusion, when Jesus prevented a woman caught in adultery from being executed, he said, "Go and sin no more." This shows that punishments that reform the criminal should be used. If prisons cannot achieve this, then there may be something wrong with sending criminals there. Well, that was the model answer. Here's what the exam board has said. So here's some reasons to agree. Again, if you want to pause that and have a look through those for yourself, you've got some Bible verses down the bottom as well. And here's some reasons to disagree with the statement from the official mark scheme as well. So please check that out for yourself, see how your answers compare to those. That brings us to the end of this video. Hopefully that helped you understand a little bit better about what the perfect answers look like, what the examiners were expecting. And you need to now reflect on your own work and think, well, if I didn't get full marks, why not? What could I learn from that video? What could I learn by looking at those model answers that I could change my answers for so that I could raise my marks? Generally, my experience is that a lot of the students got all the knowledge they need up here. It's just getting it down onto the paper in a way that wins them the marks is something they need to learn. So the best way you can do this is practice, practice, practice. Practice as many questions as you can. If you're struggling to find practice papers, head to www.thersteacher.com, where you'll find an enormous amount of practice papers, all set out in that same way: 1 marker, 2 marker, 4 marker, 5 marker, 12 marker, which cover the whole of the thematic studies syllabus in those themes, A, B, D, and E. Any questions, stick them in the comment section and I'll get back to you if I can. And have a blessed day.